Hi, I'm Brittany Moan. All of us here at Marthaler Chevrolet would like to wish the girls hockey team of Alexandria good luck at state.
Remember, this holiday season, whenever you get to Alexandria, make sure you stop in at the local Scenic store that has gas, tires, LP, and a great convenience store.
Wales Hearing Center is proud to be part of the Starkey Hearing Alliance, and I hope you enjoy these videos explaining all the benefits of the latest developments of Starkey hearing aids, especially the mobile SurfLink.
All steaks are not created equal. Other markets inject their beef with up to 11% added solutions for the same price. Don't pay for beef that's juiced. Pete's County Market. Real beef, always.
Pete's County Market.
At Pete's County Market, all of our smoked meats start right here in our own smokehouse. So come check out the large variety of smokehouse meats at Pete's County Market.
Fresher, easier, friendlier. Pete's County Market.
A stunning reflection of one's beauty and spirit, the Grace of Antwerp diamond is custom cut and polished by master craftsmen in the diamond center of the world. The Grace of Antwerp, a work of art, available exclusively at Caro Jewelers, Alexandria.
Welcome to Inform TV. I'm Alan Roebke, Alexandria, Minnesota. Today I have the privilege of having Tom Obert. I would probably refer to him as a strong fan of girls hockey in Alexandria here, maybe a rabid fan even. We'll see how we get our discussion going. For you people that are not aware, audience Inform TV, the Cardinal hockey girls here in Alexandria are going to the state tournament. We're doing this program about 20 after 11 here on Tuesday. I think the team is leaving. Tom, you said 3 o'clock?
3:30, somewhere like that.
So
today,
if you want to go out and wish them well, you can do that yet today, and their game tomorrow is with Red Wing. I'll just give one footnote before I turn it over to our expert here today to give you a background on what to watch for when you're watching the tournament. Is the fact that I did a little piece on energy, and I had quoted that the TV stations in the Twin Cities always like to get a secretary from AAA to talk about energy, and sure enough, last night, just after I recorded the program on energy, I flicked to Channel 5, and they had the gal from the AAA, the Motor Club, justifying the price of gas is $3.75 a gallon in the state, and so my audience out there that watched the loop I had on last night, I think will find that interesting. Yet at the same time, it gave me a nice compliment because I'd already talked to Tom about coming in and talking about the Alexandria girls hockey team. KSTP had a little blip, and I don't know if you saw it last night, that the team we're going to face, Red Wing, sounds to be the hot team, and I think they have the top scorer in the state and that type of thing. So, Tom, it's all yours. Tell us about the girls and your little background, and you introduce yourself as far as your history in the Alexandria Lakes area.
See, that's what you gave a one-up on me there already on the Red Wing situation. That we were talking about this in our walk this morning, that I have not seen the Tribune yet this morning.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they did have a story in there about the Red Wing team that's averaging over 6 goals a game, and 28-2 in the second seed. So I would imagine we go in as a definite underdog on this. But
the one thing they didn't clarify, who is the number 1 seed in the state?
The number 1 seed is War Road.
It is, okay.
And they've been the number 1 seed here for several years now, and
okay.
They just have a program up there that's really tough. There's in Class A, which is what Alexandria is in, the smaller school, there are 2 classes, A and B. There's like 3 or 4 schools that kind of dominate in that. It's almost always going to be War Road. Blake and Breck, the private schools in the city, and South St. Paul are almost every year those 4 teams are going to be highly seeded. And then in greater Minnesota, there's more of a turnover. Although for Alex now, this is our 7th time
Okay.
And 9 years that we've made the state
Wow.
tournament.
I didn't realize that.
Coming out of this section, yeah.
What do you expect? Just one thing on War Road. I used a few times anyway. I consider a friend from a previous life. I haven't seen her probably in 30 years. Susan Marvin, the lady chairman, probably the most prominent businesswoman in Minnesota. So it kind of goes hand in hand that she would make sure she would have a good women's hockey team. Very smart lady, a visionary lady, but anyway, as far as what should the audience here in Alexandria expect, who should they be watching, what's your thought process, or you can start with some observations for the season, whatever you got in mind, Tom.
Well, I think we had a feeling this year that we would have a pretty good team.
Okay.
And I think this is probably our best team since our 2008 state champions.
Okay.
We've got a nice balance between skilled senior players who are our leading scorers. Our forward line is all seniors.
Okay.
Our second line has a senior on it, and then one of our defensemen is a senior. But then we have some very, very good underclassmen who are still middle school players on the defense, and they are going to be very fun to watch in the next few years.
Okay.
And we have two very good young goalies. So
What has been their specialty? Do they tend to be a good defensive team, or are they a scorer?
more of a defensive team.
Okay.
We have good speed and quickness. We're not a natural scoring team. We
Okay.
have some good athletes, but I always said scoring is a gift.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can train someone to be a good scorer or not. It just seems to be a gift. But we work hard, great hustle, and we usually get our goals through reboundings or just continuous action. We're not the kind of team that can get a breakaway and score immediately on great shots kind of thing.
Now you and Ruth have been watching these girls for many years. You probably go to all the home games.
Yeah. We started basically in 2003, shortly after we moved back here after we retired.
Okay.
And I was fortunate. She's from Indiana originally, but like myself, we prefer being too cold to too hot.
Okay.
So we never planned on being snowbirds. So then what do you do in the winter in Minnesota? And I noticed in the local newspaper they're talking about the high school girls hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was still relatively new at that time, and I said, well, I'll give that a shot, see what that's like.
Okay.
Well, I went to the arena for the first game that I saw, and the sections were divided there. They had a student section, in the middle they had adults, and then they had a visitors section. Well, I was the only guy in the adult section,
Okay.
because the only people that would come to girls hockey at that time were family
Okay.
and their fellow students. Well, I think the families were a little concerned about who's this old guy sitting over there in the middle section and kind of give him the eyeball. Well, when they first came out, I was hooked immediately. It was
Okay.
just so much fun. And pretty soon the hockey moms who we got to know would come over and find out what this is all about. And I said, well, I just came here to enjoy the games, and we really do. And pretty soon I started getting some more people to come. I said, you got to come and see these girls play hockey. It's really great. And we got up to about, I think at the most we probably had 20 people of what we call our super fan group.
Okay.
That are mostly retirees, and we have a good time following the team every year.
What
after
about
year.
boys hockey? Do you follow that, or are they too hot shot for you?
Yeah. We always say we're fair weather fans, and we will admit to that. And our girls' teams have been very successful over the years, so we tend to follow them the most. If the boys have a good team, we no doubt will follow them as well. But
Now, I think KSTP, one of their channels, carries the tournament. Is it Channel 17 or whatever?
Yeah, so-
and whether you're on cable dish or selective TV, you'll have to figure that out for yourself. And so, what do the fans need to be? Who should they be watching? What if we're going to be successful against what KSTP is kind of saying the team to beat? And unfortunately, over the years of watching various teams, family with kids, my Roseau is a hockey magnet for boys hockey. The Lunds up there, my cousin married into the Lunds there. Billy Lund was a big hockey player in his day. They won the state tournament when he was there, and I think he's involved with the boys coaching program now, and that type of thing. So what do you see that's going to have to happen against Red Wing on Wednesday for them to advance? Which of the girls have to step up, or what part of their game has to work?
Well, from what I've heard about Red Wing, they have the leading scorer in the state, I understand, and then they have a defenseman who is up for one of the finalists for Miss Hockey. So they obviously have two very good players. So I think what Alex will have to do in order to be competitive in the game is not let that leading scorer get out on breakaways. Our defense is very talented, but our defensemen, I think, for the most part, tend to be offensive-minded, which is fine.
Okay.
But in that situation, sometimes, you know, a quirk of a bounce or something, it can lead to breakouts by the opposition. And if the other team has a very good scorer, that can lead to problems. So we're going to have to be very careful in that regard, I think.
What about, I've never been to a girls hockey game. Like I said, my cousins, we were up fishing one time. It was 47 below in the morning when we were up fishing, but that night we went over and watched boys hockey. So I've been in the stands with boys, and I watched boys, their ego, when somebody gets in the penalty box. Do we have to worry about the girls here of one of their key players screwing up and getting a penalty box and that hot shot?
And not as much with girls hockey, and I think that's one of the reasons why we like girls hockey as well. We think it's more of a pure game, less testosterone involved. And so, yeah, there's just not as much emphasis on hitting. Obviously, they say girls sport hockey, there's no checking is allowed, but there's certainly a lot of contact. It's still a rough physical sport.
Okay.
But absent the checking, it just makes it a cleaner game. I think a purer game because there's more passing and puck movement, more emphasis on scoring rather than the physical aspects of the game.
One of the things we had talked about here, a number of things. Unfortunately, Tom got to hear a long sermon from me, but he was foolish enough to keep asking questions about me, but kind enough, I should say. But from a standpoint of the people out here in the Alexandria, like I said, that haven't watched girls hockey, or including myself, but will probably watch some of it, flick the TV on when it's going on, what are the numbers they're supposed to watch, as well as the names that they need to kind of keep an eye on, and why?
Well, I know the team does not call the lines the first line, the second line, or the third line. There are reasons for that. You don't want to differentiate between them. They usually do them by color. But the first line is the all-senior line, and our leading scorer is Shelby Iverson, and she's number 38. She's the center on the first line.
Okay.
And her right wing is Becca Ilias, who's number 37. And the two of them have played very well together the last couple of years, so they're kind of our 1-2 punch. And they're on the first line with them is another senior, Anna Carlson, who's number 31. And through injuries and changes and stuff, Anna started out as a defenseman but moved up to be a forward on that line. And she's a fine contributor in that line too, because that gives that line very good speed.
What about when we move to second line, third line? Hockey is so demanding, and you got to get them in and get them out.
And with the line changes, sometimes you can be out there with somebody from another line, and they make that adjustment. And the second line will be the number one line next year. Obviously, it's a junior line. Basically, the center is Taylor Ellingson. She's number 24. She's had a very good year. One of her wings is Melissa Drown. She's number 6. She's also a junior. I kind of called her our secret weapon this year. She tended to score goals in 2, and she got the winning goal in overtime in the championship game against Fergus Falls this weekend. And they're also on that line with them is Maddie Huska, who is number 12. She's also a senior. So the two forward lines, the two big scoring lines, that's a pretty much experienced group, senior group. That's going to be tough to replace for next year when we're looking ahead.
Okay.
And now when you get into the tournament time, particularly teams in Class A that just don't have the numbers, have a tendency to play 2 lines more often than not.
Okay.
Alec through the season played 3 lines a lot, which is good. It gives more playing time to everybody. And
do you think they'll compress it though?
They'll probably compress it some for the tournament. The third line played quite a bit early on in the championship game. Not as much as the game went along when it was a close game. They played well when they were in. That's younger line, obviously. I think Hannah Hansen is number 11. I believe she's only a freshman.
Okay.
And she's in there with Kayla DeWans, who's number 7. I believe Kayla's only a sophomore. And they're on with Mari Wasepka's number 18, and I believe she's only a sophomore. So this is the youth movement coming up from behind.
Anybody that's followed hockey, like I said, I follow all sports in and out, but what about the goalie? What's our goalie situation?
The goalie situation, I think, is very good for us, sets up very well for us for the next several years, because the goalie that's getting the most playing time right now is Amy Jost. She's number 33. She's only a freshman.
Oh, wow.
And Bailey Serum, number 35, is only a sophomore.
Okay.
So, and they both basically alternated all season long. So
Really?
they're both very talented young goalies.
Who do you expect to see in the net, though, as the start of the game, so to speak?
Probably Amy, because she's had the last 2 games in the tournament.
And that's
here.
the younger one of the two?
That's the younger one of the
Okay.
two, yeah.
Okay.
So.
But people shouldn't be surprised if they see a goalie switch. It's it's not that the coach is losing faith, it's just the way they've been doing things.
That's right.
What about the coaches themselves? What kind of style they play? Who's their names? I don't even know their names.
The head coach is Andy Shriver, and I think this is his second or third year.
What's his background in hockey? Is he from one of the big hockey towns, or?
You know, I don't even know what Andy's background is on that. I believe he was the girls' coach initially when the program started in Alexandria, which is, 13 years ago now or whatever. And he just came back when Mitch Locke had the long-term run as the head coach here. And then shortly after Mitch won the state championship, it was time for him to move on to do other things, and Andy came back to take over, and his assistants are Britton Boyk and Joe Kraus. And I think they both went with Andy both of his 2 years so far.
Their style of hockey will be kind of contain the rink, so to speak, rather than rush the net.
No, I think that they'll play an offense, aggressive offensively.
It seems to me what I heard on KSTP anyway last night was the fact that they're going to have to give it their best or their all.
Yep, and they'll have to forecheck well, I think, and hopefully our overall team speed will match up with Red Wings. I don't know what these superstar players are like for them. But then I said we have our talented defense. I think we have number 40 is Shanae Hurd. She's a senior, and she's only been playing for 6 years of varsity hockey. She started out as a 7th grader and played on the state championship team.
Are any of these ladies going on then to one of the other programs in the state in girls hockey?
I would not be surprised if they do. I think Shanae is considering it. She's also a volleyball player, but she'll probably play volleyball in college first and foremost. I think the players on the first line could at least play. I mean, I'm not an expert on this kind of thing, but I think they're at least Division II talent. I'm not sure if we have any D1 type players on the team. The possibility is we have some young defensemen that could develop into possibly Division I talent along with our goalies. The rest of our defensemen, we have Nicole Bartles is number 23. She's a long, lanky sophomore. And then we have a freshman, Lauren Niska. Lauren's number is 31, a very talented freshman. And then we have an 8th grader who's Mackenzie Revering, number 29, who's already a star as an 8th grader. So those young defensemen, they will be fun to watch in the next several years.
That's one of the things about girl sports or lady sports, the fact that some of them just, they pop out of the egg and they're gone. I mean, they're top rate right away. It's interesting how.
I didn't even realize this till I heard this at the end of the last game, that Mackenzie is only an 8th grader and a defenseman, had 7 goals this year. That is pretty amazing, I think.
Anything else about the field they face? It sounds like Red Wing and all of them are going to take these girls very seriously. That's kind of your assessment of it?
Oh yeah, I think so.
And I haven't looked at the rest of the field, any of the other teams, that if we would be fortunate enough to beat the Red Wing, who would be the next, the other teams would probably face? Do you know it all?
I'm trying to remember, and I should have noticed this by reading the Tribune this morning. I forgot who they would play the next game, but if they do beat Red Wing, they would likely be playing the team who was the number 3 seed. And off the top of my head, I can't think of who that is right now. It might. It might be Blake.
What I was getting at was the fact that if they can get by, traditionally anybody in the state, long term, they always want to say, "Well, we at least won the first game of the state tournament," and that is a trophy in itself.
And then that will get you on TV.
Exactly.
You can't get on TV until you win that first game.
Okay. And what I was getting at was So we're fortunate enough to beat Red Wing. War Road, what you think is probably going to be in the finals, wouldn't get them till the championship game.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the 1 and 4 are set up to play each other in the 2 and 3. Since we're playing the number 2 Red Wing, if we should beat Red Wing, our likely opponent will be whoever plays as the number 3 seed versus whoever they are playing. I believe the number 3 seed is Blake.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, that sounds interesting. Anything else you want to talk about as far as what you see at this hockey tournament?
Oh, I just have fun. I think this is the most fun sport for us as a spectator now. As over the years, I've gone to NCAA Final Fours for years,
okay.
and the pro sports. I think they've just gotten, from our standpoint, just too big.
Mm-hmm.
And too expensive. I said, for us as seniors, we can go to a girls' high school hockey game for $2. I mean, there isn't entertainment value any better than that anywhere that I can think of.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just been terrific fun for us. So, yeah.
That's a good compliment to the girls and the program as well. And when we look at sports, we're building a new high school here, and I don't think they have any plans or any space set aside to ever. Do they have room for arena out there?
I think there's enough property. I have no idea if they're considering building a hockey arena out there. I know right now we have two rinks under a roof out there, and I know the people that run the rink business would love to have a third.
Okay.
And I think a lot of towns would like that too. But then you're talking about, that's not a cheap proposition to build a third rink. But if you had a third sheet of ice, they said you could hold tournaments all summer.
Okay.
And that would bring revenue to the town in terms of that type of thing.
Okay. One of the points that I caught on you, and I kind of assumed to the audience that these games were going to be broadcast. But the first game will not be on TV?
That's right. The first round is not broadcast for the girls. I can't remember if they are for the boys or not, but for the girls tournament, they don't pick up coverage until they get to the semifinals.
That surprised me because
well, unless something's changed.
Yeah, but that's interesting to note. So people may have picked it up on radio. Do you know if any of the local radio stations are carrying
yeah. KXR radio carry it. Dave Harris and Bob Kniff will be down there.
Okay. That sounds good. I know Bob enjoys doing sports and does a good job of it. And at the same time, I had checked with the school here a little bit. I'm always in the outs, I'm always in the principal's office viewpoint of everybody in town here. But maybe I could go down there if I scraped a few bucks together and film. But I'd have to get permission from the State High School League. Sherry, that's treated me very well, that does school activities there of keep me updated a little bit, even though I'm not on the good side of the system. She said I'd have to get permission to bring a camera in the building, but I don't know what's all going on. But that's interesting. Maybe we could get a little film or something from that and that type of thing. And it all sounds well. And anything else then? What's your thought? Are these girls going to win the first game?
Oh, of course.
That sounds good and good and positive.
And of course, we always look at it as an opportunity to go down to the Twin Cities and experiment with restaurants.
There you go. If you have nothing else, I guess we'll conclude this. Or you want to say a few closing thoughts?
Well, just go Cardinals, and we look forward. We'll be heading off at 7:30 tomorrow morning to go down there to be in the XL for that first game of the tournament. So
that sounds great. I don't think we could have any better representatives in the stand than Tom and Ruth. So we appreciate you coming in here. And I want to thank you for listening to Inform TV. I'm Alan Roebke, Alexandria, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Brittany Moan. All of us here at Marthaler Chevrolet would like to wish the girls hockey team of Alexandria good luck at state.